What's going on, everybody? Finally lost my patience with the pellet probe coming loose on higher power setups. So, going to be replacing the stock pellet probe carrier with this little guy. This is the Ultra Grip probe carrier from Kraford Lypt. So, nice thing. It's got a giant set screw that pinches your pellet probe, so honestly the set screw probably not even really needed. So this one right now has been set up for 30 cal, going about 960 FPS, and what I'm finding is even Loctited, the set screw comes loose. So what I'm going to do here is just take off the scope rail. And with the scope rail, I always leave the screws in with everything I take off, just because you never know with some of these screws what you're going to run into here. Side fun note, I do have the new Kraford Lypt V2 cheek rest. Problem though, I need a different set of Allen wrenches for this. So, be right back. Alright, just due to how this mounts, you need to actually use a standard, normal Allen key. Gotta get up under the cheek rest and get these two bolts loosened here. And then on mine, what I did, if you have this cheek rest, is I used two little tiny M3 washers, so it keeps it from digging into the top of the cheek rest. Let me get the other one out of here. Alright, leave those guys in there, set that to the side. Alright, and pretty much just going across the top. Take off this top plate, all 2.5 millimeter hex, and with this top plate especially, very important, leave the screws in the plate when you take it off. Some are different lengths, and you don't want to get those guys mixed up. And also at the same time, I'll be switching out my 30 barrel kit. Reason being is I am pretty much out of 30 cal pellets right now. So we will be shooting 22 for a little bit. Just because I have an excess supply of those guys. Take the barrel off. The barrel grub screw is a 3 millimeter hex. Set that guy to the side. Now this barrel takes quite a bit to pull out of here. It's very tight fit. And take that front block off. Put that guy to the side. I always like to inspect the O-rings, especially when it's a tight squeeze. Just verify they're not nicked or damaged. This one looks good. So, we'll set this guy to the side. Oh. And yeah, reason I'm doing this right now is the fact that I was at the range earlier today. And of course, about 10.5 in, my set screw came loose again. And last time this happened, I Loctited this thing. So, fun fact with the set screw, I know a lot of guys strip these things out. I've actually found, even though it's metric, a 1/16 hex key tends to fit a little bit tighter just with how the grub screw is machined, and definitely helps prevent me from stripping that guy out. So I'm gonna get this pellet probe out of here. I suppose I could have done this after I pulled the block off, but that is what smart people do. There we go. So this is what you're after right here. This guy. So, heard this is a loctited in. Really no O-rings or anything in this guy. Biggest thing, make sure not to turn it, or you will lose your distance. This one, from what I recall, is a 2.5 for the mounting screw here, so that's good. Actually move the camera a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. Usually when I deal with Loctite, because I have stripped stuff out before, and it's no fun to get screws out that are stripped or rounded out. I'm going to torch it. That's just how I do it. Now, careful when you do this. Obviously, this will get hot. We got that guy heated up. Hold it real tight, and there we go. Should be pretty easy to get that guy out of there once you broke the Loctite. Other than it's hot, little minor Loctite used. Now, this is interesting, as my stock probe here actually only has one pin, whereas this is actually set up for 2. So I'm going to install it with just the one for now. The problem with this is it can torque, so you have to be careful when you're tightening it down. Looks like I'll have to go on the FX website and order a couple of these set pins here. So when I put this in, I'm actually not going to re-Loctite the probe carrier in, because I will get an order for one of the set pins, and yeah, we'll end up taking that back out at a future date. But it's not too hot. It's still a little toasty. Of course. Be right back. Grab something. And yes, I'm returning with a golf glove on my hand. They are leather. They allow me to grip hot things and not burn my fingers. And I actually commonly use them a lot with gripping slippery items for air rifles. Comes in really handy. So again, careful, very hot. Go through here, and I'll match the orientation for this guy. So this one was placed in the front. Yeah, I'll place this one in the front again. Like I said, I'll end up ordering another set pin for the probe carrier here. So as far as getting everything back into place, pretty simple operation. Boom. Probe carrier. Actually, match the pinhole. Goes into the set hole. And take your screw again. And make sure you thread it in square. And we'll tighten her back down here. So yeah, a little disappointing that I'm missing one of these set screw or the set pins. Explains why earlier when I was messing with the stock probe carrier, I thought it was twisted, and it shouldn't have twisted. So I'm just gonna give this a nice tighten here. Like I said, once I get the replacement pin, I will go back in here and put the second pin in, but that is looking pretty square right now. So that should be good. Now, one of the things I do when I use a new pin probe, or a new pellet probe I should say, is I like to take my barrel that I'm putting it in. This is the first time, or especially if you're changing calibers. And I will insert the new pellet probe and line it up in the transfer port. And then what I do from there is I'll take a little strip of painter's tape. This one's not going to use a whole piece. Rip this one down the middle-ish here. Alright, then what I do is I actually wrap, and it marks the seating depth of my pellet probe. So that way, as I go to reinstall it, I know if I need to readjust my probe seating depth. So I just wrap this guy around here. These are super easy to take off, so easier to see than pencil, trying to etch graphite on there. So yeah, as you can see, and I'll hold this up. See if you guys can see that. My probe is nice and aligned, and I've marked the seating depth for my pellet probe. So once that piece is done, pretty simple operation here. As far as this goes, alright, just making sure my Delrin bumpers are still installed in the base of my charging block. Let's see, this was an M3 if I remember correctly. So I'll loosen that set screw there, and then of course it's your standard M2 set screw. Kraford gives you a nice little black set screw there. So we will slide the probe back in. Need to loosen that guy up a little bit more. Oh, it's a super tight fit for this one. Just get this aligned again. And we're in. And I'm going to have to readjust mine. I've been twisting my bar all over the place as I've been doing this. But get the original set screw location in there. Snug that up. Nice. Technically, I guess you don't even need this one with this setup. And just FYI, that is a 2mm that Kraford gives you. Alright, then we'll tighten up this set screw again. Ooh, it's nice and tight. Yeah, that probe is not going anywhere. It's going to be great. Alright, let's see. So, let's go ahead now. In the front block piece, there's a little O-ring in there. I'm one of those because I've got it apart. I may as well lube that. So take care of that guy. Actually won't add it. Looks like my little Delrin guys could use a little lube up here too. Take care of that. And yeah, I've been twisting this darn thing all over the place. I'll be taking this barrel out a couple more times, getting this adjusted. There we go. So nice and lubed there. Okay. Make sure this guy attaches. Actually, yeah, I already know I'm going to need to go in another, and this is opposite how it adjusts. So counterclockwise tightens it, clockwise loosens it, And what I'm doing here, I'm just checking, at least on this initial, seeing how far that seats in, and actually that might be about right there. So let's see, let's back that guy out. And before I put this back in, I also lube up the O-rings on the transfer port. And just as a FYI for everybody watching out there, we are unloaded, we are on safe, so nothing bad will happen. So don't forget to slide this little block piece on first. There, give it a little rub. It's got that lube in there now. Oh yeah. Alright, let's get the barrel back in. Get this guy seated there. And make sure we line up here. And we're lined up. Perfect. I'm going to push this forward. Just a little too loose here. Hold on. Pull this out one more time. Definitely appreciate my barrels fitting very snugly. I'll just say that. Put this guy there. Make sure she doesn't roll off the desk on me. So I need to loosen this one turn. And if you saw something fall off, I just lost one of the little Delrin bumpers. Actually, I lost two of them. Oh, there he goes. There's the other guy. The little guys like to pop out. Makes life super fun. I'm actually feeling them. I still got a little life left there. Alright, let's get this seated back here again. There we go. Let's slide this guy back on. We should be good. Alright, let's see how that's looking. That should be nice right there. So while I'm thinking about it, going to seat the barrel grip screw, because that's at a good length there, as far as alignment goes. Ooh, that's looking good. Alright. And once you get that done, pretty simple. It's taking your top plate, getting that guy squared up here. Now, when you tighten this down, I am one that I go zigzag. So I go offset. Just make sure this is lined up here. You'll notice sometimes too, when you take the whole barrel out, you take this top plate off, your chassis has the ability to twist a little bit. Alright, so we're looking real lined up there. Now I don't go too tight on these, reason being, I've had the pleasure of rounding out one of these hex screws before. Yeah, and the nice thing is this is actually a pretty high torque electric screwdriver, not like those little skinny wow sticks, or, you know, not as dangerous as using an actual electric screwdriver in some cases, as far as over tightening things. So that's done. What I'll do is, if I can find it, go back manually here, and just give things a little finger tight snug. So nothing crazy. Don't need to go hulking out on this thing. Again, I have rounded out one of these hexes before. It is not fun getting it back out. How I got mine out, if you have not purchased or own a set of left-hand drill bits, that is what I'll say. Get a set of left-hand drill bits, especially when you're working with smaller diameter screws like this. If you happen to strip one out, it will be a lifesaver for you. Because that's how I got mine out, was left-hand drill bit, and then drilled it out a little bit, and didn't quite catch, and it was one of the shorter ones in that top plate that I rounded out. So what I ended up doing was using a easy out, and that took care of it. But I will tell you, before I went to the left-hand drill bit, the easy out did nothing but make the rounded out bolt head more rounded out. So really what it took was the left-hand drill bit followed by the easy out, and that did the trick. So same thing up here, just tighten those. Now I do pay attention to the alignment of my pick rail here, and it looks like we are pretty even. Go back in here with the hex T-handle. Get that nice snug up there. And then, actually I want to look at this real quick. I don't like how I have that angled, actually. That's the one thing. I almost wish they had little mounting tabs on, or alignment holes on the scope rail too. Because you can mount this crooked, like offset. So I always stare at the line right here that is created between the top plate and the scope mounting plate, and make sure it's pretty evenly spaced. You'll see if it's not centered. Alright, so we got that. Gonna give this another little, just tighten it up with the normal hex key. Boom. There we go. So what we have done today, got rid of this guy that always is backing out with the grub screw, put in the Kraford Lypt ultra grip probe carrier. Also did a barrel change and verified that I've got the right seating depth with my pellet probe. So after this, off to tuning. You guys have any questions, feel free, leave a comment below, and I'll try to help you out if you get jammed up with something like this. Other than that, thanks for watching.